You're listening to KOUG Radio. Listen live online at KOUGradio.org.
Okay. Hello. I always take like 20 minutes to like adjust the mic and stuff before I do this. And it's so hard, and I am not I'm not good at this stuff. So anyways, okay. What's up? Sorry if my mic sounds weird. I need help. I'm gonna text the KOUG Radio editors because this is getting embarrassing because I've done this so many times, and well, not, you know, I've done this like more than 4 times and I can't even get it right, but I'm hoping this sounds okay. I'm low-key getting it ringing in my ear. This is so fun. Wow, this is so great. All right, we should be good. Hi, welcome back to Talk Now, Cry Later. This is Payton, and well, I've been getting on a regular schedule, which is so fun, and I love being here, and I love talking nonsense into a mic. And I'm conjuring up some really cool ideas for this semester just to talk about, and also to have some guests, hopefully. Oh my gosh. That would be so fun. And I have some people in mind, student life, and maybe even people outside of that, depending on if I'm allowed to or not. So I'll have to check with my team. But yeah, it's good to be here. It's a Tuesday, but this is probably going up on a Monday or sometime next week. So yeah, schedule has been shifted so many times, so I'm gonna not say a specific time anymore, and I'm just gonna say tune in Mondays, whenever that is. And if you don't miss it, or I'm sorry, if you miss it live, which is on KOUG Radio, KOUG radio.org, that's where we go live with shows and stuff. But if you miss it, no worries. I miss it. I miss my own shows. I miss other people's shows. I just go on YouTube, KOUG Radio as our YouTube channel. And yeah, you just get it all there because it's automatically put on YouTube by our beautiful, beautiful editors and team that put all of our fun little talk shows there. And we have lots of great stuff by other people that I love very much dearly, and they're so great and so creative, and check it out when you can. It's just great, great, fun student life we have here. Anyways, so unpacking all that, I say this every single time, I am not a licensed therapist. I am not even a licensed person. I am a student. I am 22 years old, talking to a microphone for funsies. So if you have an issue with that, you log off. See ya. Bye. Later. But if you don't, I'm glad you're here. And I'm glad that we can have this conversation and we can just have fun and laugh and talk about being young or old or in between, and going through life, going through college for me especially, and or school or work or something. And just get to know each other and really get to the nitty-gritty of life, and also realize that it's also not that deep and we're all gonna be okay. And I'll tell you why. And I know I have imposter syndrome because I'm just like, I'm 22. I haven't even lived that long. Like, I don't know what to do. Which is very much correct. But I will say that that's why I want to have more guests on here, because I'm just like, as much as I've gone through my own hard things, you know, again, like I said last show, we're not immune to life's struggles. Nobody is, no matter how old you are or who you are or where you come from. Everybody goes through hard things, some more than others, unfortunately. But I do want to get a different sense of where people come from and a different sense of how people navigate their struggles, because it's different for everybody, and we all have different ways of going through things and working through things, which I think is super dope, because obviously my advice and the way I do things is not going to be right for everybody, and it's not going to be right for you, and you might just be like, wow, that's really cool, but no thanks. That's totally fine. So I'm ready to have more people introduced to this silly little, you know, hobby of mine. And I need to stop calling it silly because I do that to myself when it's not. It's very fun and it's good for me. So, it's a little silly, but it's like silly in a good way. Okay, anyways, so stay tuned for that. It'll be really exciting. And yeah, if you know me, and you want to be part of this, or you want to be interviewed, or you just want to come on and see how this works, just shoot me a DM, or a text, or literally anything. Just hit me up, and we can get something set up if you're interested, or if you just want to talk or whatever. Yeah, but that's about it for the disclaimers. Listen at your own risk. We talk about good things, talk about bad things, and everything in between. So yeah, buckle up, get ready. I usually would have like an outline for my first few shows, and I was like really trying to be perfect with it, and then I reduced it to a sticky note. So I have a sticky note just with lists, like just a little bullet list of like things I want to briefly mention or talk about today, or another chances, or questions I want to ask people or the audience or whatever. So it's just gonna get it's gonna get more messy from here on out, but in a way where I want it to be. I create part of my life to be specific or quote unquote perfect or scheduled, organized, you could say. But this is not one of them. I mean, I try my best, but it's not always going to be perfect. And I don't want it to be. And I that's a huge thing that I made a goal for this year, and just, getting back into school, because I'm working on my bachelor's degree. I'm halfway done, and I'm a little more than halfway done. Actually, I don't know. I don't know. I'm there. I'm getting there. But school was always intimidating for me. It was always very important to me, but I would stress myself out so bad over it, just with the pressure of it and feeling like I had to compete with my classmates and all that, jazz. But then I was like, okay, if I'm going to get back into school and get back into, life and being an adult, then I have to realize that it's not gonna be perfect. It's not gonna be hunky-dory. It's actually gonna be pretty messy, but I can make that, I can take that as an advantage, not as a loss. You know what I mean? That can be a win. I just have to play my cards right. And I kind of want to talk about that today. So once upon a time, Payton was very depressed. Gosh, I can't believe I'm talking about this. So, but you know what? I'm being very vulnerable. I really don't care. I really don't care. Yeah, and she tried to do school and not take care of her mental health at the same time. And it was a recipe for a tornado of a disaster. And it made her family members worry, and it made her friends worry, and she was freaking out because she was like, she is me. I wasn't taking care of myself. I was only thinking about the materialistic things. How am I going to get by, financially, or how am I going to get by, education wise? What is the next best thing? What should I get my major in? It was never about how do I feel? How do I feel about all this? And what can I do to do both at the same time, or have a balanced pattern, or have a decent schedule where I'm not, killing myself over an education, or over just stressing myself out so bad. And yeah, so that was really hard, and I had to go through many loops to get here now. But I can confidently say that I'm a completely different person, because I had support from friends and family, of course, which is, I'm so lucky and blessed to have that, because not everybody gets that opportunity. But I also was encouraged to get through it on my own. Not saying I wasn't alone in that. Of course I felt alone, but I wasn't alone in the fact that people were encouraging me and telling me, instead of, I had a few people tell me, well, that's ridiculous. Get up. You're lazy. You're stupid. You're just lazy and you're ungrateful. which I did feel that way sometimes, but majority of people told me you can get through this, and were very encouraging, and didn't paint me as a victim, or didn't see me for my flaws and for what I was going through. They saw me as someone who was going through something but could bounce back and could get back up on her feet, because she was powerful, and because she had done it before, and she had proven herself in a way where it didn't matter that it was a certain way. It was just she got up. That's all that mattered. And that was really great for me, and I'm forever in debt to those people who were just would call me or shoot me a text asking how I was doing, or just being there for me, listening, not helping, not solving, just listening, so that's really awesome. And besides that, when I'm on that next tangent, sorry, it was like super long, because of that, because of that happening, it took a while. It took a few years to really get me out of that. It made me realize, though, that I am so much stronger than I think. And we live in a world where it constantly tells us things. It forces us to think a certain way. I feel like, in a lot of things, not everything, of course, but it's very negative out there. It can be very like the news and the things that are happening, and I'm. Of course, the news likes to focus on the drama and the what's happening right now, the biggest story right now, the newest thing, and that can get so overwhelming because we're just people. We're not all celebrities. We're not all in the same boat. We're not all the same person. So it's gonna get overwhelming for just the people that are just trying to get by or trying to figure things out, trying to be a human, because being a person is not easy. We're constantly figuring it out. That's what being a person is. It's not having our life together. It's exactly the opposite, but finding a way to find the joy in it. And on that note, it was good for me to finally realize that I had the power to change. Whether that was to change my atmosphere, or change the way I was talking to myself, or implementing practices, little things that would build me up and create ripples in my progress, because even the tiniest change can create progress. It doesn't have to be this huge thing that you're trying to change, because if you're just trying to change it all at once, it most likely it's not going to work out. And that's pretty harsh to say, but it's the truth. If you try to change everything at once, or you're like, I'm going to do this one thing and I'm gonna do it all right now, it might just leave you feeling tired, in my personal experience, taking those little steps is so great. And not giving yourself too much, because again, we are strong people, but we're at the end of the day flesh and bone, and we are fragile, and to keep doing what we love, and doing it with a sense of pride and happiness, that comes with taking care of ourselves. Definitely. Don't skip that. Don't skip that self-care at all. That is, if you have time to, what was it? I read a thing. Hold on. I read a thing and it said, the best time to do self-care is when you don't have time, or something like that. It was along those lines. And I was like, what? But girl, if that ain't the truth. Because if you're like overloading yourself with tasks, responsibilities, you're going to be burnt out, and you're going to be like, oh no, I can't even do this thing now that I love because I can't even love myself. Does that transfer over? It sounds crazy. It sounds negative, but sometimes the truth hurts. So, um, and I, again, I try to be as open-minded and as polite as I can. But at the end of the day, I hope that what you take from this is sometimes it does take that stance of, okay, yeah, maybe I need to implement that tough love on myself, which evidently is not tough because it's just love on yourself. Then that's pretty bold to say, maybe to some people or in some areas, because again, the uh, the college life or the work life, it's like go go go, don't stop until you drop. But I challenge you to not let that get to you, and to just implement little practices to make sure you're taking care of yourself, because it's so easy to get lost in that. And that happened to me last semester, and I think I briefly mentioned that, but last semester was just hard because I was putting too much on myself. I was stressed out with things, and I wasn't taking the necessary steps to take care of my head, take care of my mind, while I was feeling like I was overloaded with assignments and work and extra things. I was trying to do everything, and I wasn't giving myself a break, or I wasn't scheduling it properly where I could, give myself time and grace during the day and during the week. Again, a hard lesson to learn, and we're not stopping learning it. Like, it's never going to be perfect, and it's never going to be in a place that is going to stay consistent all the time, because our schedules are ever changing and our responsibilities are ever changing. I'm going to graduate next year, and then I won't be in college anymore, and I won't be doing the same things. I won't be going to class every day, and I won't have the same job and XYZ. It's like it's always changing. But if you recognize that change is going to happen, then your mind is like, you like prepare yourself, and you're like, okay, cool. That's why I love college in a sense, because as much as it's stressful, expensive, and sometimes it's hard to be here because it's a long time, and you don't always feel like you have a choice in things, or you feel pressured, or whatever your reason is for being here. It's valid, I promise. But as much as that can be hard to deal with sometimes, I do love that we get to change every semester. We get a fresh new start every, whatever it is, 16 weeks or something. Or in other, community colleges or different universities, they do like by quarter basis. So it's like you get time to adjust, and I think that's very helpful in just being a person and changing and realizing that change happens all the time and it's always changing. And that's great, because then you don't have to feel like you're stuck. And if you do feel like you're stuck, you're like, oh, I have the power to change that. Because you have it in you. I promise. I promise. And if you don't believe that, well, you should believe it. And I promise you do have the power to change your situation. And you do have the power to get through it also, because you're strong and capable, and I believe in you. So yeah. Anyways, yeah, so on that topic of change, I think there can be, along with, having the power to change and that positive mindset that I just said, which can get also a little toxic at times, I feel like, because we're not, I'm trying not to contradict myself here. This is why mental health is so, it's such a broad and like a never ending topic, because, some things overlap, some things are very hypocritical, and I contradict myself all the time, because I'm like, no, I want to be positive, and then one day I'm like, no, but sometimes it's hard, and then I have to do this and that, and it can be very contradicting, especially with mental health, definitely other subjects too. But so I'm trying to navigate that, so I apologize if I ever sound like it's like hot and cold or very like up and down. Bear with me. Yeah. But on the topic of change, definitely it is hard. And I don't want to excuse that. It is difficult to it's difficult to change your mindset because it's so much easier said than done. And I could say all day, oh, but you can do it. I believe in you. And I do. And I do firmly believe that. And I feel like that's a great resource to tell yourself. And if you keep up that pattern, eventually your mind gets used to it, you know. But it is not easy. It's not easy at all. But I think it's supposed to be that way in a way. I low-key forgot my train of thought because I took a break to think. Not really sure what I was talking about. I think I was talking about change. Anyways. Oh, gosh, this is great. I do this to myself all the time. Anyways, I think we were talking about change and how that can be difficult. Okay. I think I was talking about how it was necessary. Okay. Okay. So change is very necessary. But it is not easy. And it's okay to tell yourself that that it's not easy. And it's okay to not have that toxic positivity mindset of like it's always going to be okay, because that is not true. And my favorite phrase, the truth will set you free, but first it'll piss you off. And that's the truth in itself. Change is hard, and I think there's a level of acceptance that we can do to recognize that it is hard. And that kind of doesn't give it the power anymore. You know, when you acceptance, like what is it, like the 5 levels of grief or 5 levels of pain, something like that. I'm not really sure. It's a part of that where acceptance becomes, even it can happen at the beginning, it can happen at the end, depending on how you see it and how you function. Because it's not all cookie cutter, you know. It doesn't give it the power. Whatever you're going through, if you just let yourself know that, yeah, okay, I'm going through this and it sucks. And maybe this happened and maybe now I feel dumb, or I need to apologize, and I did, and maybe someone hurt me, or maybe I hurt my own feelings, or I messed up, or maybe I didn't even mess up. Maybe I just didn't get the opportunity I wanted. Whatever it may be. Come up with your own adventure, create your own adventure scenario, whatever. Once you accept that, I think there's just like this level of power in you that's like, okay, cool, move on. Like it's that, I just love that release of just getting over it. It's once you've been through things that are difficult, and I know you have, and I know it is hard. And you're seen for that. You are. But it's almost like you build an immunity to not the pain, because it's always going to hurt, but you build an immunity to how you react to it and how you let it affect you. That is just perfect. I love that. And I love that that is a part of our experience. It's so important, and it's important that we recognize how powerful that tool is. Acceptance is it's my favorite flavor. Okay. Acceptance. And maybe that's why I like, maybe it's why I like harsh advice sometimes, because I just feel like in my experience and some of my close friends, it's like, it's just worked. And sometimes it can be harder than the route that you want to take, which is another part of acceptance in itself. But it works though, and it makes you feel like you're unstoppable. It gives you a sense of confidence that you can get through anything, and you can get through this because you went through that and you accepted that. So now you can get through this. You know, it's like, it's that you keep keep going mindset, that but also taking time to realize what it is. So it's I don't know, it's hard to explain. It gives me a feeling that I don't know how to put into words, but it's kind of like giving yourself the confidence when you thought you never had it. It feels really good like that. It just, yeah, I don't know. I could go on and on, but I won't. And I think a part of that change, there's a sense of regret sometimes. We regret saying things, or we regret doing things, making a certain choice that we thought was best for us at the time when it wasn't. Or vice versa. We're like, I really should have just, maybe I did make the right choice, but maybe it would have been better if I was this way, you know? I love those memes on Instagram where it's like I think it's like a picture of a guy literally like vomiting, and it says like, it's like the top bottom text type of stuff, and it's like me when I should have been mean when I was nice, or me when I was nice when I should have been mean, or you know whatever. And it's like we reflect and regret some decisions where we wanted to be different, whether it was we wanted to be nicer, meaner, or we should have stood up for us, should have stood up for ourselves, or maybe we shouldn't have. Maybe we should have just de-escalated or just walked away, because we're all gonna get angry and we're all gonna make mistakes. And backtracking or trying to fix the situation, because we are problem solvers in our nature. That can be hard when sometimes the problem should be left alone, or sometimes things are better left unsaid, or accepting can be hard because you want it to be done and fixed when it's not, and you have to let it go. And that can be difficult. And I am no stranger to that difficulty. And I'm still such a work in progress with that, because I want to let go so bad to certain things, certain past experiences, things that, you lie awake at night and you think, oh, why did I do that? Why did I do that when I was younger? Or why didn't I, I could go on and on. But again, that's how we learn. And I feel like when you have that level of acceptance and letting go, that does not affect you as much, and you can sleep more peacefully, because you did the best you could at that time with the information you had, and change and a sense of forgiveness is possible for yourself, and others, of course. And yeah, so I kind of like that. And along those lines with like regret, like I was saying, it's hard. And regret is such a yucky word in my eyes, just because I'll be like talking with someone who's a lot older than me, who's more experienced, who has gone through way more than me and understands way more about life, and other things, and sometimes it's like, they're like, but I wish I did this at your age. So don't make that same mistake. But also, life is life. And if it happens, it happens. And sometimes it makes me sad, because I'm like, I wish people didn't regret as much. Obviously, sometimes that's necessary, because people do really wild things and things that are pretty bad. But like, if you take accountability and you patch up that type of situation the best you can and take the necessary steps to be better, of course that is, a good way to do things. But I'm talking about just in your own life, making your own decisions, and there's that sense of regret because you didn't do something, or you didn't say enough, or you didn't go for that job, or you didn't go back to school when you probably should have, or whatever you feel. It makes me sad. Regret is a hard thing to get over, because sometimes it doesn't feel necessary, but maybe it is. It's a part of the grieving process. It's a part of the acceptance process, maybe. But I also know that when I talk to people who are more experienced and older than me, who have gone through so much more and have thicker skin and are just are just really strong and happy in themselves. They always tell me, like, I did the best I could, and that is my power. And I use my experiences to guide and help others so I don't have regret. And I'm like, wow, that is beautiful. And that's a full circle moment, I feel like, because if you're going through something and you're like, why the heck am I going through this? And then 20 years later, you teach somebody something that you wish you would have been taught. It's a full circle moment. And you helped somebody, when you didn't have to. You could just keep quiet, but you didn't, because you didn't let that regret get to you. Maybe that's the secret. Maybe. I don't know. I'm just here and talking. So I don't know. Lots of inspiration and ideas these past few weeks of going up and down in emotions and in life, and a new semester. A new semester always brings new ideas for me, which I think is great. I don't always have that, so I feel very lucky to have that motivation right now. Anyways, I don't really know where to stop because I've been rambling for a while, and I don't have much else on my sticky note to talk about, but stay tuned for guests and people and different ideas. I think it was a few months ago, I collected some ideas via Instagram question poll things, and I have some great ideas in the works, and my notes apps and my whatever planner things I try to be organized with. And so hopefully things will get finalized in a very not so organized, graceful way, but they will happen, and that's what matters. Done is better than perfect. Done is better than perfect. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. I just wanted to ramble a little bit today about what I was feeling, and thanks for being here, if you were, and thanks for being a human. It's hard, and you're doing great, I promise. Yeah, stay tuned for the upcoming weeks, and tune in to me every Monday and all the other days that the other shows are being produced. KOUGradio.org. That's with a K, not a C. It's a K. And we're also on YouTube. And check out other people's shows because they're so great, and I love the people here. They're so awesome. Okay. I will catch you later. Catch you next week. Stay tuned. It's going to be fun. Go drink some water. Go be a nice person. Forgive yourself. Okay. Bye-bye.